Sequels are such easy prey. What's up, everybody? Monster Master Godzilla here, and I'm here to continue the Scream-A-Thon. We're now up to Scream 4. Now, here we are. After 11 years Wes Craven had brought back the Scream franchise, and by making Scream 4. And this one it was a breath of fresh air after Scream 3. And as what the slogan of this movie would say, it says, "New decade, new rules." Yes, that's right. It took place 11 years after Scream 3. And they feature like a newer generation of horror movies that they referenced, and they even referenced a lot of newer generation horror movies, including Saw, and like stuff like the remake of Black Christmas and the remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and so even My Bloody Valentine. So in the beginning, it kind of tricks you by bringing in like fake characters who are movies within the movie, like they jumped the gun by bringing more stab sequels after the first 3 films. So now Sidney Prescott is now a little older. He's now an author of a self-help book, and returns to Woodsboro. She returns to Woodsboro, and so yeah, they ended up going making callbacks to the first movie, where she ends up returning to Woodsboro, and Dewey is now a cop again. This time, Dewey is now promoted sheriff, and Sheriff Dewey is now a sheriff and has his own deputy, and she and Gail are now married, and then Gail is still continuing as the news reporter. Then, as the killer came back, this time it has 2 killers who were returned, and they're still chasing after Sidney Prescott. So, now Deputy Dewey now has this deputy, which, see the woman right there pointing the gun? That's the new deputy right there. And other cops include guys like Anthony Anderson, who sadly gets killed in there. And this time it features that when Sydney ends up visiting her cousin Jill. And they did reference Billy and Stu, like the past did. And supposedly, saying that Sydney's father, they made reference saying that Sydney's father passed away, saying supposedly he died of a heart attack. And so then Sidney Prescott's now a little older now, and she's no longer afraid of the killer. So yeah, she's definitely older and wiser in this one. And she is no longer afraid of the killer, and after certain people were killed in this one, and one thing that's surprisingly, that Rory Culkin is in this one. He had like very long hair in this one. And then the most shocking thing is that during the murder spree, when Sydney was chased after the killer, she was almost stabbed by the killer at first, but then still during the chase scene. And oh yeah, this one definitely pays off to make up for Scream 3, because this one is gorier than Scream 3, and this time it definitely feels like a more satisfying breath of fresh air. So that's pretty much what it was about. That it just felt like they redeemed what happened with Scream 3. And so far, I will say, and then the most shocking thing is that the first killer was revealed to be Charlie Walker, played by Rory Culkin. The first killer to be revealed is that when he shows the knife and kills one of the characters, which is Kirby. And my God, that was a big shocker. And we found out that, and then after that, Sydney tries escaping Charlie only to get stabbed by Ghostface, who then reveals herself to be Jill, her cousin, which that's even very fucked up. I find it so fucked up to find out that Jill is the killer. So yeah, to find out Jill is very psychotic, was jealous of Sidney Prescott and wanted to be famous and stuff. And she definitely has more like development than Billy did. Sorry for those who are fans of Billy Loomis. No disrespect for the original, but she definitely has more story development with the killer as becoming the killer than Billy. We found out that he did not kill. She's even more fucked up than Billy. No insult, no disrespect for fans of Billy, because she actually had the spines to kill her own mother, and really psychotic. And then after she stabs Sidney Prescott, Sidney appears to have been killed. Look like she's been killed, which I was shocked. I thought Sidney was going to die. She appears to have been killed. Then after that, she ends up torturing herself to make it look like trying to make a scene. And then the cops showed up, and they took both Sidney and Jill to the hospital. So then, turns out Sidney actually survived, and Jill too. So then Jill almost decides to kill. Then Jill turns out, and so then after Sidney survives, Jill tries to kill Sidney, and then after that, they finally killed Jill. And supposedly the world ends up believing that she's a hero, but it's all lies, because it left on a cliffhanger showing her corpse one last time, and then it cuts to the credits, and that's that, leaving a cliffhanger. So, would I recommend Scream 4? Yes, sir. Definitely give this one a watch. It's definitely it's definitely strong, like a Scream 1 and 2. You definitely need to have a watch this one, because especially if you want something to make up for Scream 3. This is definitely worth the watch, and sadly, after this one, there was never another. They didn't make another Scream until another 11 years after this one. And then the sequel coming up after this one is truly worth the watch. And so yes, I recommend grabbing this one. It's definitely a must-watch, and especially for bringing new life into the world, trying to bring new life into Scream, which is one that begins bringing new life into Scream. And oh yeah, this time when they end up instead of using house phones, they end up using mobile phones with caller ID. And yet, they still answer the phones. In fact, it's actually very hard to make a new Scream in today's world, because nobody has a house phone anymore, and nobody really talks on the phone as much as they used to. So, yeah, this one's definitely a must-watch if you wanted to get into the horror genre. So, that's all I have to say for you guys. And I hope you enjoyed the review. And as always, stay awesome, my Monster Masters. And I'll catch you later. Peace.